the fact that it's actually not more discipline that we all need in order to, exercise or achieve success in whatever thing, or, achieve whatever goal we've set for ourselves. There's a quote that I found recently by Aristotle, very well-known philosopher, and he says, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit." And just to kind of apply that to what we were just saying about discipline, what Dan Sullivan pointed out is we are already all 100% disciplined in our life. We have all the discipline we need. The thing is that we have to recognize we are 100% disciplined to the habits that we currently have, those things that we just naturally do without thinking, those things that have, let's take muscle memory as an example. Tennis players, when they serve it, they try to make it an automatic muscle memory type thing. Look at any Olympic level athlete and anything they do. There's all this muscle memory that happens through training and repeated exercises that train their muscles, but not only their muscles, but then also their mental ability, their mental faculties to just habitually act and perform in a certain way, because there's scientific proof about how the neural pathways of our brain kind of pave over and over and over and over again until they create these automatic roadways that all of our thoughts use as they whiz around in our brain and create the behaviors of our lives. And so, we're already all 100% disciplined towards just the current habits that we have in our life. The problem is that when our habits do not align with the goals that we have, then that's where there's a disconnect, and we start getting down on ourselves and going, well, dang, I'm just, I just don't have enough discipline, as if it's like this resource we can go out and just dig up somewhere and find more of. And I think that was a pretty powerful little switch to think about, it's not about discipline, it's about habits. And so the trick then is to form habits within our lives that are congruent with the goals that we want to reach, with the success that we want to have, that will lead us in the direction that we want to go. And so that's what we wanted to talk about, is forming habits as this fundamental building block for achieving success, whether in life or in internet business. And so that's an important myth, I guess, to realize. Myth number one that we want to point out, we're going to be going over 3 myths here. Myth number one is that you need more discipline. The truth is you don't need more discipline. You have all the discipline in the world. You need to apply that discipline towards habits that are congruent with your goals.
Yeah, I think that also believing in that myth, the times that I'm going to just use the example of going to the gym to work out, I thought, okay, I need the discipline and to get myself to go every day and hurt my body so I'm in pain, but it'll make me lose weight, right? Like I framed it all wrong, and I I thought it was all about discipline. And I was like, well, I usually have about enough discipline to go about 5 to 8 days. Right. Maybe 10 days if I'm like extra disciplined or something. Like when I see a picture of myself, that usually helps what I thought was bring up some discipline. But it's been interesting going through this process we're going to talk about, and how we can realize that, what I was disciplined in doing is not going to the gym and instead getting some food and watching a movie.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's the difference. Or it's going and watching TV instead of doing another hour on your internet business because you want to escape the 9 to 5. Right. Like those are the things that you're perfectly disciplined. It's just being able to understand how habits work, which is what we're going to talk about. But that's how I always thought of discipline. I was like, gosh, I'm only disciplined about 10 days when I try and work out.
Yeah.
But now I see that definitely was the myth. The discipline was towards not going and working out and instead doing something else.
Well, and yeah. I mean, that's a perfect example with the exercise, and that illustrates that. And I think that's something that we can all relate to. I've had the exact same thing, and I think that switch in awareness between discipline and habits, and it's been very helpful for me, and I think it'll be helpful, for anybody listening to this. And that's why we wanted to share that. Okay, so now that we know that it's habits are the fundamental building block, let's talk about this next myth. And the next myth that people propagate upon themselves or impose upon themselves is that they need to change all of their bad habits right now. And a classic example of that is the New Year's resolution. I mean, I think we all know that. I mean, you know, a new year is an exciting time. It feels like a fresh beginning. It's become this habitual or cultural thing for people to think about, oh, what are all the things I want to change in the new year? And so at that time, we write down, you know, 3, 5, 10, 20 maybe things. It's like, okay, I want to stop drinking so much coffee in the morning. I want to quit smoking. I want to lose weight. I want to, you know, whatever different habits we have in our lives. And a lot of times they are related to habits that we have in our lives. But the problem is then, you know, January 1 hits and we immediately go about trying to change all of them at once. And the truth is,
we have 45 new goals we want to do this year, and we want to start working on all of them now.
Right. And the truth is you can't. You know, for whatever reason, the human capacity is that changing more than one, you know, maybe 2 habits at a time is just not possible. You know, you can only change one at a time for the most part. And I don't know, maybe if you become like this master habit former, maybe you can get a point in your life where it's 2, but certainly not the 3 or 5 or 10 that a lot of people try to do. You know, people are like, well, I want to get more healthy. So, you know, all at once, they're like, I'm going to exercise more. I'm going to change my diet. I'm going to start drinking less soda. I'm going to stop smoking. And so it's like there, it's like 4 things all at once when really they just need to choose one. And I think the way to go about it is to, you know, analyze the ones that you have and pick the highest leverage one that you can, the one that, well, I mean, obviously the one that maybe you're the most motivated about and have the most awareness and willpower about, and we'll talk about that some more in a second, but also just what is something that will bring you big results. So let's take the get healthy, get more fit. I mean, I know that, you know, there's always things I can do to make my diet better. And we've already talked about the exercise example. There's the, you know, drink less soda thing. I mean, I have one of my little vices is I love drinking Diet Pepsi. And I know that there's all these studies about how soda's bad for your body and the artificial sweeteners are probably not very good either, right?
Yeah.
But when I realized this thing about habits, I was like, you know what? Like the highest leverage thing I can do right now is get myself to exercise every morning because the energy that's going to bring me is going to make me more productive throughout the day, the more positive outlook that's going to give me. And these are all like scientifically proven things. Not only that, I see the proof also when I do it. You know, I know that it's going to be very high leverage results for me to just form that habit of exercise. And so, you know, the soda thing would have positive results, but I feel the exercise is a more high leverage thing for me. So I'm going to concentrate on that and just not worry about the Diet Pepsi thing for now. I'm just going to allow myself still to drink Diet Pepsi. And that's one I can change in the future. So I've chosen one of these be more fit habits to change right now. And I chose the one that I felt was the highest leverage for me at this point in my life.
Yeah, I was actually going to mention exercise too, but since we are internet business, I'll go in a different direction. And I just talked to an old Hollywood friend of mine that actually is now in the academy. And one of the things he was mentioning is as he's trying to design an internet business, he said, you know, he's completely on information overload. And it's funny, he's like, you know, I could just sit here and learn this stuff all day long, all over the place in every category. And he goes, I know it's silly to even say this because with the academy, it's step by step. Just do number 1, 2, 3, right? But he goes, you know, what should I do? And I said, well, you know, first you're going to have to just set the time. You know, he was also having trouble finding when he's going to do it. And he gets distracted because there's so many other shiny things to go look at and stuff, you know. And I said, well, you know, like I do with exercise now, I have scheduled 4:00 is when I go. And I go whether I want to or not and just go, even if I got to just be there for 10 minutes, you know, just so I get in that habit of going. So I said, maybe when is the time that, you know, you're most refreshed and ready to, you know, take action? He's like, right in the morning. And I said, well, maybe for the first 2 hours you get up, you just schedule that no matter what. It's internet business.
Yeah.
Make that a habit every single morning that you plan on doing it. So if it's Monday through Friday, if you want to be real crazy, you know, have it be 7 days a week just for the first month, just to get into something.